Chapter 9 16 Days Until Christmas. Tuesday morning, like she had every day before they got Valentine, Lucy's mom walked her to school, depositing her in the lobby where Anya was waiting. It was utterly mortifying to be in 6th grade and dropped off by her mom, but there was no getting around it, not until Valentine healed. But Valentine would heal, and that mattered more than anything. The vet had called Saturday morning to say that the surgery had been a complete success. Valentine was cancer-free, and once her body had recovered from the operation, she would be good as new. She had come home yesterday afternoon, tired but cheerful, trotting into the kitchen for dinner and snuggling down with Lucy in bed that night. She would be able to come back to school after a week of rest, and knowing that made everything else tolerable. The hallway of Pine River Middle School was packed. Lucy could hear the footsteps of all the kids, heavy in winter boots. She heard their laughter and the little sighs of those who had not completed homework for their first class of the day. She felt the heat radiating off the boys who ran down the hall and the girls who pretended not to be following in their wake, their arms and backpacks brushing against Lucy as they passed. And of course there were the smells: syrup from morning waffles, woolly sweaters, damp mittens, strawberry shampoo, freshly applied lip gloss, and 1,000 others that blended together into a potpourri that was fully and uniquely Pine River Middle School. "Bye, sweetness," her mom said, sneaking a surprise kiss onto Lucy's forehead. Lucy groaned and linked arms with Anya, who smelled like violet soap and peppermint toothpaste. "I feel like I'm back in 1st grade," Lucy said as they started off down the hall, her walking stick clicking in front of her. Despite the stick in Anya's arms, she felt vulnerable, like she might accidentally walk into an open locker or fall down a flight of stairs. It was only with Valentine that she felt safe walking down the crowded halls of the school. "Don't worry about it," Anya said as they turned the corner. "No one even noticed." Of course they had, but it was nice of her friend to say that. A group of boys yelling and smelling of sports socks and sweat ran by. Lucy cringed a little as one of them bumped into her. "Sorry," he called as he sped past. "Jerk," Anya muttered, pulling Lucy in closer to her. "How's Valentine?" Lucy felt her shoulders, which had clenched up, relax at the thought of her dog. "She's great," she said. "Dr. Lazarus said the surgery went even better than she had hoped, and it was barely invasive, so the recovery will be quick." "And the prognosis is good?" Anya asked, stopping as they reached their lockers. "It's terrific," Lucy said, a smile blooming across her face. "Valentine's going to be fine." She felt around the front pocket of her backpack for the lanyard with her locker key. "That's so great," Anya said. Lucy could hear her rustling about in the papers that always covered the bottom of her locker. "Yeah, it's huge," Lucy said. "I really thought I was going to lose her, but thanks to the angel tree, I'm not." "The tree is awesome," Anya said. "I'm going to put up a wish for a brother swap to see if I can trade in Theo for a brother who doesn't mess with my stuff all the time." Lucy laughed. 4-year-old Theo was a total terror. "I wish I knew who set it up and make sure all the wishes are granted." Lucy said. "I want to thank them, you know." She heard someone stop behind them for a moment and caught a whiff of bubblegum lip balm. A girl scouting out the jock boys down the hall, no doubt. "Yeah, but that's not how the tree works," Anya said, her voice muffled. She was digging deep in her locker. "Whoever is behind it doesn't want to be found out. They like the mystery of it." It was hard to imagine someone not wanting to take credit for the fabulousness of the angel tree. It nagged at Lucy not to be able to do anything in return, but she knew Anya was right, and really, what could she do anyway? "Ready?" Anya asked, slamming her locker shut. Lucy linked arms with her friend, set down the tip of her walking stick, and headed down the hall to homeroom. When the bell for lunch rang, Anya guided Lucy to her locker before running off to her robotics meeting. Lucy assured Anya that it was fine, and it was. but it still made her kind of anxious to navigate the halls with just her walking stick. As Lucy popped open her locker, she could hear the crowd thinning out. A few girls talking as they walked by, and then a lone set of footsteps that stopped next to her. Lucy recognized the smell of the bubblegum lip gloss from the morning. "Hi, Lucy," a familiar voice said. "I'm Cammy. We have language arts together." They did, though Cammy didn't speak all that much in class. The real reason Lucy remembered Cammy was her violin playing at school assemblies and last year's Christmas gala. Cammy had made the instrument sing, and her playing gave Lucy shivers of joy. "Hi," Lucy said, carefully closing her locker. She figured Cammy had stopped to see if she needed help, and Lucy planned to politely turn her down. She was going to make this walk on her own. "So, I heard you," Cammy said, "talking about the angel tree and how it helped your dog." "Yeah," Lucy said, unsure why this was of interest to Cammy. "I have this idea," Cammy said. Lucy could hear her shifting from one foot to the other and realized that Cammy was nervous. "And Max is into it too. We want to find out who's behind the angel tree and give the biggest, best thank you ever." "Oh, wow," Lucy said. "That sounds like a great idea." "I'm glad you think so, because I was hoping you might want to help us. You know, with finding out who's behind it and then planning a big surprise celebration to say thank you." Lucy didn't know what to say. Right now she could barely walk down a hall on her own. How was she supposed to help uncover the secret angel behind the tree, and then run around town planning a big thank you party? Even with Valentine, it was more than Lucy could imagine, way more than she had ever done on her own. Camelia seemed to mistake her silence for disapproval. "I mean, I know the person behind it is supposed to be a mystery," she said hurriedly, "but he or she has to been doing it for over 25 years. Don't you think it's time they got something in return? Some kind of celebration to show how grateful we all are?" Lucy definitely agreed, but now another thought that was occurring to her. Cammy had to have other friends who could see, and be 100 times more helpful than Lucy. So why was Cammy here asking for her help? "Yeah, maybe you're right," Lucy said. "I'm just not sure how much I can help you. I mean, obviously I can't see anything and I don't get around easily. Don't you have other people you could ask, people more helpful than me?" Cammy coughed uncomfortably. "Well, actually, right now I'm taking a bit of a break from my friends because pretty much all of them except for Max are in the orchestra and I'm not." She paused. "I'm just not hanging out with them right now. And anyway, the fact that you want to thank the person behind the tree, that matters way more than being able to see." "I'm not so sure about that," Lucy said. Cammy laughed easily. "Believe me, if you want to help, we could find all kinds of ways you can be a part of it. That will be easy." Lucy had to think Cammy was mistaken. She had no idea of all the challenges that faced Lucy in a day. "Please say yes," Cammy said, laying her hand on Lucy's arm. "I know you want to." She did, she really did. And so, despite all the reasons not to, Lucy agreed to meet up with Cammy and Max after school the next day to begin coming up with a plan. Dinner was ready by the time Anya had walked Lucy home, and Lucy was famished. The smell of vegetable curry made her mouth water as she pulled off her snowy boots, and Valentine came to greet her. Lucy was used to spending the whole day with her dog, so she took a minute to hug her tight. She missed her today. Valentine panted happily and licked Lucy's cheek. "I'm happy to see you too, girl," Lucy told her. Valentine thumped her tail on the wood floor, clearly feeling the same way. Lucy heard her mom's footsteps padding in. "How was your day?" she asked. "Good," Lucy said, her voice slightly muffled by Valentine's fur. She lifted up her head so that her mom could hear her. "How was yours?" "Busy," her mom said, and Lucy could hear the tension in her voice. "But I did find the time to go by the drugstore. Mr. Von Wolf already placed the order for Valentine's next round of meds, and he said it's been covered by the angel tree. So that was helpful." "Great," Lucy said, another wave of gratitude for the angel tree flowing over her. "How's Valentine?" "I took her to Dr. Lazarus today," her mom said, "and she's very pleased with Valentine's progress." She should be able to take short trips by the weekend and ready for school on Monday. Great, Lucy said, bending over to give Valentine another hug. Are you getting better? She cooed. Valentine answered with another kiss on the cheek. This one extra slobbery, which made Lucy laugh. Your dad's on the phone, but I think he'll be off soon and we can eat, her mom said, heading back towards the kitchen. Dinner's ready. At the sound of the word dinner, Valentine trotted for the kitchen, toenails clicking on the wood floor. Okay, girl, it's dinner time for you too, Lucy said as she followed behind. She got out a can of food and attached it carefully to the can opener while Valentine whined eagerly. Lucy removed the lid with a fork, the way her mom had taught her, then scraped the food into Valentine's dish. She was rewarded with the snuffling sounds of Valentine inhaling her meal. Lucy slid on her fleece slippers and returned to the dining room. A minute later, Lucy heard her dad's steps. Not his old man shuffle, but steps that were quick and light. She hoped this meant that the phone call was good, or at least not another bill collector or membership that had to be canceled. Once they were all around the table, Lucy's dad served her. Curry's at 1 o'clock. Rice is at 6, he said. And I put a bit of that mint chutney you like over at 9. Thanks, Lucy said, picking up her fork. It was much easier to eat when she knew where everything was on her plate, which she treated as the face of a clock. A moment later, she felt a wet nose on her ankle. Valentine always tried to sneak in when they were eating, hoping for some scraps from the table. Usually her parents shoo the dog out, but tonight they didn't notice she was there. I just had a very interesting call from Kara Cutler, her dad said. Lucy recognized the name of one of the local architects her dad sometimes worked with, and she paused, fork in midair, to hear what Miss Cutler wanted. It turns out she's part of a big building project that started out as a wish on the angel tree. Her dad went on. She asked if I'd be willing to volunteer my time to help out. It's going to be a community undertaking with a whole group of folks pitching in. That's wonderful, Lucy's mom said, and it's great they asked you to help out. It is, her dad said, his fork scraping along his plate as he scooped up a bit of curry. It'll be good to have somewhere to go every day and to be a part of something meaningful. Absolutely, her mom said. Do you know what kind of building it is? Lucy asked. She didn't say, her dad said, but I'm up for anything. It was terrific to hear her dad sound so excited about something, and it reminded Lucy of her talk with Cammie. Dad, she asked, did Miss Cutler say anything about the person behind the angel tree? I asked who was organizing the building project, actually, her dad said, because he's an awfully big thing to pull together. It's an awfully big thing to pull together, but even Kara has no idea who's behind it. Everything is communicated through a general email, and no one has any idea who's pulling the strings. It's very Bond-worthy, actually. Her dad loved James Bond, so this was a true compliment. Though unfortunately it did not help Lucy at all. Still, it was something to tell the others when they met the next day, and even though she was feeling worried that her presence wouldn't help, she had to admit she was looking forward to the meeting.